I got a question. I've been watching Pop the Balloon, and I just want to know for the people that are 30 and up, or I want to say 33 and up, is being with someone that have children really a deal breaker? Because a lot of factors, you could have been and got married. You know what I'm saying? Now, I get it when it comes to multiple children. So if you are a person with 3 kids and the man feel like they want to start their own family and the woman is like, I don't want no more kids, then it's kind of like, yeah, of course, pop the balloon. um but I think it should be a limit. Like, okay, I'll date somebody with kids, but you know, certain factors like how what the ages are, because I feel like from a lot of parents double back when they oldest child is like 3, and then they end up having another baby with them, or like 2. So I would say kids that are 4 and older, like, I wouldn't recommend dating somebody that is like with a brand new baby, or kids that's 5 and under, because people backtrack so much. And yeah, but for the ones that's like 5 and up, like kids who are 5 and up, have children that are kids that are 5 and up, I feel like, you know, they ain't been together. Just find out the situation. But I feel like to just say, that's a deal breaker. And I get it. You want to start your own family. But let's be very real and be very clear. Most good women eventually find will be either naive enough to think they found their person and decide to have a family, or they have a family. Like, and I'm not saying there's not any women out there. I feel like it's good women and good men, but it's not to say that good men haven't found love once or thought they were in deep love or deep connection and have children. Same thing for a woman. So my question is for the single people, because I'm not single, but I watched this show because I'm trying to get some insight on why the dating pool is so, like, my single friends is like, girl, dating is trash. But if you coming on this show and you 30 years old, why is having children a deal breaker? I think you need to be more into detail. Like, you got kids, but you may not have, like, if you got 5, then I can see. Um, but if you got like 2 or 3, maybe even 4, it's like, it depends. Like, if the dad's involved and this and that and the third, I don't feel like that should be a deal breaker. I feel like it's a blessing to have like a big family. And I guess I could be a little biased because I did meet my husband at an age where I was like, I'm not dating no man with that had kids. But if I would have stayed on that mindset, I wouldn't have the man I have today. Like, I love my husband, and we ended up having 3 beautiful children together. But he did have 2. But at the age I was 19, of course I didn't want kids, but I couldn't help who I fell in love with. So in that case, I just, yeah. And they were fairly young. So I guess my standards, I don't know. I don't want to say my standards are low or high. He was just the first and only that I ever dated and interacted with. But looking back on hindsight, like, if it was my daughter, I would be like, run. And it's not to say it's a bad thing, but it's like, you got to be at a certain maturity. Like, I feel like my husband, by the time he got with me, he was a lot more mature, but he also was very clear minded. So, yeah, that's my question. And my question is, but I was young, so I'm just saying my story is different. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like you a bit naive or just like lost in sauce. Most people have children by in their 30s, I would say, at least that I know, at least one child. Um, but to be 35 and be like, that's a deal breaker. I want to create my own family. Like, I feel like you gonna have to be with somebody, and then to want someone of your same age, that is another question. It's like 35, find somebody with no kids at your age, but you want kids. Most women's like, I don't want to say most, but some. But it's like, you want to, and then they be like, the girl be like, well, how many kids you want? I want about 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. It's like, ooh, I'm 35. Like, mm, mm, mm. I feel like if you are on this show and you want someone with no kids, like, you might want to date somebody in their 20s. And I also got another question. Like, I don't understand. Like, for me, I feel like if the person could be in high school with you, so say for instance you're 35, right? But if we were say back when you were a kid, you were in the same high school. I feel like that generation era should like, so I would say like 32, 33, 34, 35 group should date. I feel like when you date so much older or so much younger, it's like, I don't know. Like I love that me and my husband, he was born 87, I was born 88. I could be like, remember when Hot Cheetos came out? And he'd be like, yeah. Or be like, did you watch this one show? He'd be like, nah, but I want, like, I feel like if you hook up with somebody so old and you be like, remember when this came out? And they be like, yeah, I'd be like, or they'd be like, remember this came out? And you the young one in the relationship. And they'd be like, remember this came out? You'd be like, no, that was way before way before me. Like, I just don't understand. Like, for me, I wouldn't be able to date like like someone 7 years older than me, five maybe, 5 years maybe, but that would be my limit. But to be like, oh, I'm gonna date someone, I'm 35 and I'm gonna date a 50-year-old or 45, 47-year-old, like, nah, I'm good. Like at that point, you my dad. Like, not my dad, but I just feel like we can have stuff in common, but it's like, I don't know. Like me and my husband reminisce about stuff, and I don't know. But that's another question. You can answer that question too. Do you prefer to date older or younger, and why? But first question is: Is having children in your 30s really a deal breaker? If so, why? Or do you really expect people to have zero children? Like I gotta know, because I just find that really weird. Like I would almost think that most people have kids. If you don't have none, then fine. But I wouldn't go on Pop the Balloon and be like, my expectation, I want my roster to be, 28 to 37, and expect like no kid. Now if they 28 and they don't have no kids, okay. 30, no kid, okay. But to be like when they get to like 33, 34, and be like, I expect them to have no kids. It's like you got to be in denial of just the real world, especially if the woman is like sophisticated, mature. Most likely, she came from a long relationship. Like it's not uncommon to be with somebody for an entire decade, like from 20 to 30. Like it's not like an uncommon thing. Most people do that, or at least 5 years. Like you ever asked, what was your longest relationship? It's most likely, I don't want to say most long. I ain't gonna say most. But I've heard people say, I've been with someone for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, 8 years, 10 years, 2 years. But I just find it weird to be in your 30s and to be like, I expect you to have zero kids. Zero. It's like, or 35, 34, 33, zero. I feel like you almost expect it, and then that's when you ask like little details. Well, how many? How many fathers? How many mothers? How many children? What's the ages? So I feel like people though are missing out. I'm just saying.